We begin today on LaMonica McIver, who is out there begging for cash every single chance she can get because she did this. Unbelievable. Right, and that's the slowed down version. I mean, that kind of looks like... You know, I don't know. I do think that looks as though she was assaulting an ICE officer. And so because of that, Alina Habba is charging her. And she faces now up to 17 years in jail. I got to remember to look at this is the camera. This is the camera, Trish. I'm used to when I'm on the road looking into my laptop, but I've actually got a camera with me today. So remind me if you see me looking down. Well, occasionally I need to look down because we got to see what's going on the computer screen. But I do want to talk to you. So LaMonica McIver, she is looking at 17 years in prison. And so she's got to raise some money, right, in order to pay for this debacle that she's gotten herself into. But again, it's all sort of her own doing. I mean, she should have listened to fate. Fate was trying to intervene. Fate was trying to help her on that one infamous day outside the Newark, New Jersey Delancy Center. Remember?
How this administration is trying to restrict Congress from doing their bare duties and the responsibilities that the people have elected us to do. What we just witnessed was just disgusting. I am very upset. I am very angry, and I am very hurt that they could be able to do something like that to us. These are people who are supposed to be officers, who are supposed to protect us, and they have done none of that. If they can treat 3 members of Congress like that, just imagine how they can treat people on the street each and every day, both undocumented and people who are citizens here in this country. It makes absolutely no sense to...
Okay, I knew there was one more coming, and so on and so forth. Like I said, she should have listened to fate that was trying to intervene and tell her, hey, go easy, go easy. But you notice her commentary there. If they can treat a member of Congress like this, like I am such a big freaking deal because I am a junior member of Congress that was recently elected, and now I've got myself up a creek without a paddle because I don't have any money to pay for my legal bills. So what does she do? She takes to MSNBC. I want to know if MSNBC is getting a cut. Like, do these anchors get like a percentage of whatever funds they bring in for one LaMonica McIver? Here she is.
The practical reality of what this means for you. How much time and how much money is this costing you?
Well, first of all, it's taken up a lot of my time, but I am still 150% dedicated to the people that I represent in the 10th Congressional District in New Jersey, and I don't want this to get ahead of that. And so that is why yesterday when I had to run back to New Jersey, go to court, plead not guilty, I literally ran out of the courtroom, said a couple of words, and had to hop on a flight back to D.C. to vote because, once again, my job comes first, and I don't want this to, in any way possible, to get in the way of that, of the work that I need to do for the people of the 10th. So that's one thing, but it is time consuming. And then it's also very expensive, right? No one's, taking up this case for free. I have to pay for attorneys. And so you have to, raise funding and get support to be able to fight them, because at the end of the day, these charges are serious. They're saying that I can face 16 to 17 years in prison, and it's worrisome at the same time, right? I'm very courageous, and I'm very, not going to back down, and I'm going to continue to do my job and hold this administration accountable.
But I need money. I need money. Okay. That's the message that we heard over and over and over again. And guess what? Apparently, and this was so sick about the whole thing, she's using this as a giant fundraising opportunity, guys. She's getting it. She just had her highest quarter ever. Imagine that. LaMonica McIver, she gets charged with assault of an ICE officer and somehow is able to ride this all the way to the bank. I don't think so. There's something kind of wrong. And by the way, it tells you exactly what she was doing. Because remember when she was offered the opportunity, She was offered the opportunity to exit this whole thing gracefully. The Newark, New Jersey mayor took that opportunity. Of course, now he's turning around and trying to sue Alina Habba. But she said, hey, listen, just admit what you did was really, really wrong. And then we can kind of move forward. Well, LaMonica McIver was absolutely refusing to do that, absolutely refusing to do that. And, now she finds herself exactly where she is. But maybe that was the intention all along, right?
Well, Habba said you had declined every opportunity to come to a resolution. You said they wanted you to admit to something you didn't do. What did they want you to admit to?
I mean, there was a lot. We've had a week of back and forth with them, and I will say that I did not waver. I showed up there to do my job, and she wanted me to admit to doing things, all of these different lists of things that she said that I did.
Like what?
I mean, from things of impeding, there were some other things in there that she put in there, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But she wanted me to admit to these things, sign an agreement to them, and I'm not doing that.
Impeding. She wanted me to admit to impeding, but I'm just not going to do that because, I'm right, she's wrong, because somehow I think it's perfectly fine as a member of Congress that I go out there and behave like this. Sorry, lady. It's just so wrong. And apparently there's more where that came from. Forgive me, we have spelled her name. It's McIver. I want to say it with a G because, it sounds like it needs a G. It also sounds like it needs kind of like some Italian in it. LaMonica, right? Like La Regina, like she's La Monica. She's just not Monica. She's LaMonica. We've been through that before. Anyway, again, out there begging. She needs money. I don't see AOC anywhere, incidentally. We're going to get to that in a moment. But AOC has her own troubles because now she's under investigation, according to Tom Homan. But here is LaMonica once again going on MSNBC saying, moolah, moolah, moolah.
Yes.
What was it like to be in the courtroom?
I mean, there was a mix of emotions to be there. I mean, obviously, this is a crazy situation. I never thought I would be facing charges as a sitting congresswoman. It's a scary situation too, because I'm thinking of my mom. I'm thinking of my mom who was there with me, who's like stressed out about this, right?
That's a stressed out thing for a
correct.
mom.
When they're saying that you're going to face 17 years in prison, I'm thinking about my daughter who's 9 years old. I'm thinking about my husband, my family, and it's like, oh my God, this is awful. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to stop doing my job because I know why I was there and I know why I'm being attacked. And so definitely just a mix of emotions during that period of time. And at the same time, I was happy to see it moving, going through the process that it's going through today. Obviously, I pleaded not guilty because I'm not guilty. And I'm looking forward to the next time being there and having the facts all laid out and really getting through this process because it's also stressful, right? I mean, at the same time, I'm doing the work of the people that have elected me from the 10th Congressional District in New Jersey. But at the same time, this is stress. It's expensive, right? Because you have to fight this case and it's a legal case where you have to have a lawyer, an entire legal team to defend you. And so it's a lot and it's unfortunate and it's unnecessary. But at the same time, we cannot allow this administration to stop us as, elected leaders, Democrats especially, from doing their jobs.
I mean, the expenses is something I think people aren't really aware of. Are there...
The expense is something they're not aware of. So MSNBC is going to do their part to try to make sure that they raise money for her. And you know what? Again, successfully, they did so. They actually managed to see quite a heck of a quarter Democrat congresswoman facing federal charges after incident at Newark ICE facility has record fundraising quarter. So in other words, AOC may not be there for her right now. However, AOC has taught her a thing or two, right? You play the victim. Letitia James is very good at this as well. You play the victim and then suddenly everybody's materializing there for you with a little bit of handout here and there. But I'll tell you, I don't know where AOC is at this moment in time, guys. I really don't, because she could have come forward. She could have defended the other congresswoman there, the junior congresswoman, but she doesn't seem to be so willing. I mean, she was willing to stick her neck out for the Newark mayor, was she not?
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Are gonna have a problem. Well, Tom Homan, been there, done that, seen that. He's not interested in anything she has to say because, I think she was like in diapers when he was doing this already for a living. He made it clear.
You can't intimidate me. Come on, give me a break. I was enforcing him. I was wearing a green uniform, Border Patrol agent, for 5 years before she was even born. I had more than 3 decades enforcing immigration law before she became a member of Congress. I worked for 6 presidents. I've seen policies. I've seen hundreds of policies. Some worked, some didn't. But you can't deny the success of the Trump administration when it comes to border security. Again, the most secure border in the history of this nation. And I said from day one, and she knows this, you can not support ICE. Shame on you. You can support sanctuary cities. Shame on you. But you can't cross the line. You can't knowingly impede ICE law enforcement officers. That is a felony. You can't harbor and conceal, knowingly harbor and conceal illegal alien from ICE. That is a felony. And you certainly can't commit criminal trespass. And as far as New York, her district, this administration has done more to protect her district than she has. The number of criminal aliens we took off the streets of New York made her community much safer. She ought to be thanking the members of this administration, the men and women of ICE, who protect this country and make her community safer. So, it's politics over public safety. It's just ridiculous. She ought to love her community more than she hates Trump because we're doing a lot to protect her community.
Well, she's got some problems now, just a few, because Tom Homan has made it clear. He actually told Benny the other day, you know what? This woman's being investigated. She's being investigated because she actually had somebody on her team that was allegedly here illegally or had some kind of visa that had run out. Tom Homan didn't want to say too much, but he admitted, you know what? She is being investigated for this very thing. I want to play this clip for you.
Here's the article of the criminal alien staffer that AOC had on staff. Maybe you could just start here and as an explainer to me and to this audience, like, how's this even possible?
It's not possible, and I know that's being looked at. I can't comment on past that. I'm aware of it. We've asked ICE to drill in on that case. It's my information that there were actually. I can't really comment on it. We don't know if it was illegal status or not at this point. It looks like it might have been temporary status, but I can't comment on the case. It's under investigation.
Boom. Okay. So AOC has wondered, am I under investigation? Am I under investigation? Well, guess what? You are, honey bunny. You are totally under investigation. AOC under investigation, you guys, because she may have been employing an illegal alien, somebody who had overstayed their visa, perhaps. And that is a problem. I mean, especially considering that you're a member of Congress, right? You're a member of Congress. And therefore, don't you think you ought to be somewhat more in tune with the rules? I mean, LaMonica, you think you're such a big deal. You're a member of Congress, and therefore they can't touch you when you go out and you decide to move those elbows around in your big red jacket and, tell them who's boss. Well, guess what? You can't do that. In fact, if anything, you ought to be held to a much higher standard. A higher standard of behavior, because for goodness sakes, you're representing the United States of America. But you know what? AOC's not that bright. We know that. The fact that she's like courting this Mendami guy, who wants to take us back to communism, give me a break. That guy's a problem, okay? But AOC's a problem. Bernie Sanders is a problem. Elizabeth Warren is a problem. We got a theme going on here, guys, with a whole lot of people with problems, including another one, not just LaMonica, but Jasmine Crockett. Trump had something to say about this the other day, and it kind of cracked me up. It's funny. I want to see this IQ test. By the way, who's your money on, AOC or Jasmine? Really? I want to know. Tell me in the chat.
AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time.
AOC versus Crockett. I'm going to put that on the lower third right here. That's what we call it in the business. Is it AOC or Crockett? Who would you guys pick? Okay, I'll just tell you confidentially. Well, not so confidentially because we're on live streaming. AOC versus Jasmine Crockett. Who would actually win that IQ test? I actually think, you know what? It might be a tie. It might actually be a tie. I think they're both equally dumb because anybody who would sit there and try and tell you, when, by the way, history has shown all over the world that communism has failed over and over and over and over again. It fails and it just accumulates all the power in the hands of one group of people, which is a big, huge problem. Thank you very much. And one that we're still recovering from in this moment in time here today as Tulsi uncovers all of this information.